It's an honor for us to be defending them. And it doesn't make any difference to them whether we defend them or not. They're heroic people who history saved what they did, and the righteous people throughout time know exactly what they did. So it's not going to harm them if people talk about them. But it's going to honor us when we defend it. And inshallah we get the ajr about this, from this on the judgment day. Our topic today is about this hero who probably one of the most people talked about, and maybe hated by the deviants and the ignorance and the innovators in the past 2 centuries. This man is, as you know, Muhammad ibn Abd Al Wahab. He's a man who grew up in the Arabian Peninsula. Muhammad ibn Abd Al Wahab ibn Sulaiman al-Tamimi. Muhammad ibn Abd Al Wahab ibn Sulaiman al-Tamimi. He's a reviver. And pay attention to his story, because anyone could do what he did. He resembles a little bit, in a way, that which Nuruddin did. In a different, unique way. Each one had his unique style. What he did, it's nothing special. Any one of us today could do, and inshallah having these halaqat is a form of what this man did. He was born 1,115 years after the hijrah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which means approximately roughly 250 years ago or so. Roughly about 250 years ago. So this was a recent man. He's not a sahabi or tabi'i for you to tell me, this guy was a pious. No, this man is only 250 years, meaning his great-grandchildren are still living and we know them, and they're in the Arabian Peninsula. Before I tell you about this man, I want to tell you what went on in the surrounding area where he was living. This time, when Muhammad ibn Abd Al Wahab was born, it's like he himself later on said when he grew up, this ummah hasn't in 400 years seen any good. Meaning a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of corruption, a lot of innovation, a lot of shirk. What do I mean by that? I mean by that, if you went to the Arabian Peninsula itself, the Arabian Peninsula today, what's Saudi Arabia, Hijaz and Mecca and Medina, although you find graves, and on the graves is those qubba. What's qubba called? Dome. And on those domes, people worship. People worship them. People make tawaf on them. People ask the dead instead of Allah. This is exactly what Quraysh used to do. If you come to our Aqidah class, this is exactly. He came at a time when it was like that. You go, this is just, there was trees in the Arabian Peninsula where if a woman didn't get pregnant, she'd go and ask that tree. That's not stupid. That's the reality that was there. Now you may look at it and laugh, but no, that was a reality. A man who couldn't find a wife, he goes to a certain area and he asks that dead person or that dead tree or that which they think is holy. This is shirk, and this is shirk akbar. There was even qubba around some of the companions' graves, and they would, to point, worship them. That's how shirk started. Pious people died, and people kept their pictures, and those pictures turned into statues. And why did they keep the picture? They said, let us remember these pious people so we can stay pious. It started good, but those pictures turned into statues. The later generation said, we're not gonna follow in their footsteps. We're gonna worship these people themselves. And this is the great deviance. You go to Yemen, the same problem. You go to Iraq, they were worshipping the grave of Abu Hanifa. They had a qubba on the grave of Abu Hanifa and worshipping him. You go to Pakistan and India, same if not worse. In fact, the effect of that, Algeria, any country, Egypt, they weren't worshipping just statues. Those pyramids and those things that the pharaohs left behind. They were worshipping that. They were worshipping and bringing back these are Muslims. We're not talking about anyone other than Muslims. These were Muslims. In Egypt, they were worshipping those pyramids and those remains around the pyramid that the old Egyptians left behind, and they were bringing back the trend that was thousands. It left thousands. The religion of those pharaohs, they left thousands of years ago, died and vanished away. Now Muslims, because they were so much astray from the Qur'an Sunnah, we're bringing that back. This is just a small glimpse of the world when this man was born. And he takes on a huge mission, this man. He learns, first of all, under his father. His father was a big judge in his town. In that town, in the Arabian Peninsula, it's called Uyayna. It's about 70 kilometers from what today is Riyadh. Everyone knows Riyadh. It's 70 kilometers away from Riyadh. It's called Uyayna. So, he was born there. First thing he starts is learning from his father. That's the first thing that he does. He gets his father. And look how these scholars that we talk about, nearly all of them, actually actually all the ones we're talking about, and all the ones we're going to talk about, look how they stick with knowledge. That's what I say, knowledge. People talk and blab their mouths and talk about a lot of things, and I say, get knowledge. You start laughing at some of the things you said in the past. Knowledge, sit and have knowledge. Firm knowledge, you know. There's an Arabic class, go to the Arabic. So you can read. Someone can read some Arabic books. There's no reference books in English. There's a hadith class. There's a fiqh class. Go to them. Why? Why don't you go to them? Look at what Bukhari went from Sham to Iraq, to the Arabian Peninsula, to Basra, to Samarkand, to the area surrounding Bukhara. All that for a student. Now, you can go 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you have a halaqah lecture, and it's pretty hard until, well, I can't make it, you know, brother. I can't make it. How can you not make it when these giants of Islam used to do all that? This man started in his father's house, learned Islam with his father. Then he left and went to Mecca. And he studied with all the scholars there. When he was done with those scholars, look at these people. This is like I was talking about Bukhari yesterday. And then he goes from Mecca to Medina. And then he goes and learns from all the scholars in Medina. Then he leaves Medina, he's done with the Medina. And then he goes all the way to Iraq. He leaves his homeland, his hometown, his father, his everything, and he goes to Iraq. And this man is, you know, on the right aqidah. He learns the knowledge and discovers the right aqidah from the wrong aqidah. He doesn't become a big Sufi sheikh, you know, that was popular back then. That's another thing that was popular. Those Sufi sheikhs that people used to worship instead of Allah. So he goes there and he has the right knowledge, and he goes to Iraq and begins his da'wah in Iraq. Same thing like Bukhari. Say what happened with this man in Iraq is he had people following him, scholars supporting him. Some of the righteous scholars, not many, supported him. When the governors there seen that, it wasn't good. What are you doing here? Causing corruption? Causing problems? Get out of here. We want you out. And this man was a man who dealt with wisdom. Muhammad ibn Abd Al Wahab, rahimahullah, and this is the man that you hear Wahhabi attributed to. And I say, if this lifestyle is a Wahhabi, I'm the first one to declare to the world I'm a Wahhabi. You know, if this kind of lifestyle and this man is a Wahhabi, I don't know what they mean. If they mean negative, and actually everyone who says Wahhabi, 99% of them, wallahi, they don't know what a Wahhabi is. Wallahi, 99% of them, they don't know. Maybe they'll learn something today, you know. 99% of them don't know what a Wahhabi is. That's the first thing. And the others who think they know what Wahhabi is, they don't know the right Wahhabi. What is Wahhabi? We're going to learn all that today and see, was this man evil as people claim, or was he a heroic reviver who revived the Islamic Ummah? He goes from Iraq back to his country. He wants to go to Ihsa, a town in Saudi called Ihsa. He doesn't have enough money, so he stops at Uyayna. Uyayna is his hometown. He finds out his father, who was a judge, had got a problem with the governors there, and he moved out to an area near Uyayna, right next to the border of Uyayna. So he goes there where his father is, and he stays with his father. This man doesn't know whether he's with his father, whether he's in Iraq, whether he's spreading da'wah. And he starts spreading da'wah where his father is, right next to Uyayna, and he's giving this da'wah. And again, people see his supporters. The governor there was sort of neutral what he's doing. The problem came to Muhammad ibn Abd Al Wahab, rahimahullah, when people attempted to kill him. What did he do? He didn't carry a sword yet. He didn't fight yet. Just a peaceful da'wah. I want people to stop this shirk. I want them to worship Allah and only Allah. I don't want them to swear and give oath by other than Allah. I want to stop the Sufi corruption. And not only that, this was just a aqidah part of the problem going on back. There was people couldn't travel from, a few kilometers in the desert without being killed or attacked. This is another problem. Women were being raped. This is, the crimes. I'm just talking about the aqidah issue that this man revived. So he goes, when he knows they're going to kill him, the people tell him, you should leave. And again, look at that. Look how many times he traveled. He packs his sleeping bag on his back, and again out of the country. Out of there. And wherever they want, it was kind and nice to them. You want me out? I leave. He left the town, and he goes back to his birthplace, Uyayna. And over there, he meets a leader. The governor is Uthman ibn Muhammad. Uthman ibn Muhammad is the governor of Uyayna at that time. And he tells Muhammad ibn Abd Al Wahab, we will support you as much as we can. Whatever you need, we'll support you. Whatever you need for your da'wah, you're on the righteous path, we support you. And Muhammad bin Abd Al Wahab began to give da'wah, halaqat. This is what he revived the ummah with. With halaqat, with tawheed, with aqidah, with teaching the people. And people come from all over. And then you see, alhamdulillah, he got a stronghold. Said, we got near us a grave that's being worshipped. We got to destroy that. And it was the grave of Umar ibn Khattab's brother. Zayd, if I'm not mistaken. Zayd ibn al-Khattab